In this video, we're going to cover the level 3 pelvic floor series, submaximal pelvic floor training. In the previous videos, level 1 and 2 submax pelvic floor training series, we covered positions that were easier mechanically on the body and on the pelvic floor. This is substantially more advanced than the first series and even the second series. You may find that you can't maintain technique in these positions. Here are your options. You can hold on to things. You can reduce the reps. You can choose not to do all of the exercises in the series until you're ready. That's fine. The goal in all of these positions that you're going to see is to maintain your neutral position with your ribs as stacked as you can over your pelvis and really maintaining the positions. The series is you're holding a position which is called an isometric contraction with your peripheral body, so your arms or legs, and you're keeping yourself there, so your core muscles are working, but your intent is on the pelvic floor. Once you are able to focus on the pelvic floor, it is going to be easier to have more freedom in the position so that you can adjust how you're pressing or how you're holding your body, like through your feet, through your legs, differently to maintain the position or to enhance your experience in the position or make it different. That is more advanced and you'll get there. Just know you've got to get reps in. You've got to have practice and quality practice, not just that you're blowing through it. In the previous two series, I talked about how to connect with your pelvic floor. No different here. We're still going 50% or less. It's just connecting. And you'll see that once you are working and focusing your core with your deep core as a system, you only want as much as you need. You only want as much effort as you need. You don't need to really contract as hard as you possibly can. Now, if the goal is to create bulk, that's different. That's a whole different other video. So in this video, we're going to cover single leg standing. We're going to cover a wall squat, a plank, a side plank, and a lunge. You may find that you're not ready for all these positions. Try to modify by reducing the range of motion or holding on first, or try it later. Each of these, you're aiming to do about 10 to 20 repetitions, holding each rep for about 5 seconds. When we're doing both legs, so the lunge and then the side plank, you can break that into 5 and 5, 10 and 10. Whatever you can do, whatever it is, whatever number it is that you can maintain that technique. And it doesn't actually have to be a number, it could be time if that works better for you. So let's dive into it. Remember about the bean. You could be focusing on the the bean in the vaginal opening, the bean in the anus, or both. If you're focusing on one, split half your reps where you're focusing on one and then half your reps where you're focusing on the other. If you could do both, just focus on that throughout. If you're maintaining your spine in neutral, it'll be easier to focus on both. But if you tend to be more arched, might be harder to connect with the anus or the pelvic floor in the back half, versus if you're more tucked under and flat, it might be harder to connect with the front. Or posture might not have anything to do with it. It might be because of the way the way the baby came out or the position. Or it just depends. There's a lot of factors. Everyone's different. You just have to be present enough and work collaboratively with your therapist or me on finding the right position for you. So let's get into it. I go in a lot of detail these positions in level 3 diaphragm, so I'm going to try to blow through these positions so that you can get to work. Single leg is first. You're balancing on one leg while you keep your spine in neutral position. Keeping it, so to be in neutral, you don't want this, you want to keep your hip or pelvic bones level, and you don't want your knee to bend. And as you lift your opposite leg, you don't want your trunk to go back. You might need to shift forward, and it might feel like you're falling forward. And then the last thing is keep your leg muscles active. So press your feet into the ground. Squeeze your thigh muscle. Squeeze your glutes. All of that will help. And then once you find your position, whether it's holding on to something or not, you're gonna connect with your pelvic floor and then release and repeat as I talked about in the beginning of the video. Then switch sides. Alrighty, so that's the first position. Do all your reps on one side before switching. Next is the wall squat. I'm gonna do it side on. My feet are gonna be wider than hip width apart. And this is one where depth, you can vary your depth. In this position, you want your feet flat and your knees out so that they're in line with the middle of your foot. My shins are basically parallel to the floor, and I'm not against the wall. Just my sit bones or the base of my sacrum and tailbone, that's on the wall. My chest is forward and my spine's in neutral because that's what happens during a squat. I don't have to go that low, but I'm gonna just do it because it looks better. So in this position, the same thing. You connect, hold, let go, control the letting go, then repeat. Your legs, they will likely get tired. So if you have to take rest, that's fine. Just another word on your width. The wider your feet are, the wider your legs are, the harder it's gonna be. I really don't want you to be here because that's how often are you squatting? You might. At least go slightly wider than your shoulders if you can. Next position is a plank. Level 1 is an elevated plank. I like elevated plank more than knee plank better because knee plank, you're flexing your hip. And we are working on opening up your hip more often than not, especially postpartum. So this variation or scale keeps the integrity of the position more than knees. To pressing through the balls of your feet, notice I'm getting long. Elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. Pressing your shoulders through the surface, and then you repeat. Connect with your pelvic floor, let go, repeat. Option 2, or level 2, or level 1A, however you want to call it, is on the ground. Hips and shoulders are level, neck is long. If your feet are wider, maybe easier for the plank, maybe harder for your pelvic floor. Legs are straight, same thing. Going through 10 to 20 reps, you can rest in between. I encourage rest. Side plank. Elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. Knees are stacked, hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. This is the starting position. Lift up, pressing through the shoulder, feeling your side core, and then repeating. Connect. No one knows you're doing Kegels. Let go. Repeat. You would do this on the other side as well. Last position is a lunge. So feet are going to be shoulder width apart. Long step back. Back leg, knee drop straight down. Knee is hovering over the floor. Front leg, make sure that this isn't happening. Your knee is in line with your middle of your foot. And then you don't have to go that deep. It can be a mini lunge. Shin is perpendicular with the floor. Repeat. Connect. Hold, let go. Repeat. Depending on your toe mobility, the back leg might look different. The most important thing is that you're not super flared or arched. If you have to rest, that's fine. Rest, get back to it. Both legs. Okay, so we covered many different positions: single leg standing, wall squat. We covered plank, side plank, and then holding the lunge. Talked about how getting into the position and holding that position gives you the opportunity to explore the position with other areas of your body. But first, you want to really make sure that you're able to connect and not over-connect before you try to put all those other pieces on. If you have any questions, comment below or chat with me and however we said we'd communicate. And then like this video if it was helpful, and I will see you on the next video, which is either the TA series or where we start to combine each of these pieces. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.